This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Monday, December the 31st. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, the Haitians who were evicted from a 4-bedroom house at Bonnet's Britain Hill, St. Michael last Thursday night have found shelter at the Salvation Army's Reed Street hostel. 9 out of the 15 young men who were evicted were taken to the hostel on Saturday evening. Barbados' ambassador to CARICOM, David Commershong, told Barbados Today Sunday that he will be holding discussions today with the leadership of the Salvation Army to sort out their length of stay at the hostel.
I am extremely impressed by the Salvation Army. In fact, even the mere fact that they had the foresight to develop a hostel that could be used to assist people in this kind of predicament is a great credit to them as a religious organization. So kudos to them. I think the Salvation Army is definitely a religious institution that should be and must be supported by the people of Barbados.
The men between the ages of 21 and 36 said they were the victims of a scam where they paid between US $2,500 and US $3,000 to an agency in Haiti with the assurance they would receive accommodation and jobs when they landed in Barbados. However, upon arrival, they found out that the promises were all lies, since they found no jobs and had to pay for accommodation from monies which have since been exhausted.
CARICOM has started something very historic, that is to eliminate all the discrimination against Haitian nationals and to fully integrate Haiti into the community. And that is why we are seeing more Haitians visiting countries like Barbados. So it's part and parcel of that process of integrating Haiti. There will be some teething problems in the initial stages. Unfortunately, there are some unscrupulous persons who are seeking to dupe Haitians and benefit financially from them. So these are things that we are going to have to work on and get sorted out.
In other news now, the Barbados Workers Union is warning the Mayor Motley-led administration that while it embraces new technologies and the future of work, it won't support any change that it's not allowed to shape. In her New Year's Day message, General Secretary of the Union, Senator Tony Moore, is insisting that the voice of Labour must be at the heart of the debate as consideration is given to ensuring work remains decent and jobs can be made better.
The Barbados Workers Union will not support working arrangements that pit workers against each other as they compete for casual forms of labor, or even that pits unions against each other. Amongst other things, we will pursue our efforts to have address to the deficiencies in the Employment Rights Act, but not as others who would wish to remove existing rights that were agreed in the first place to level the playing field for workers, and particularly for the most vulnerable workers in the employment relationship.
Senator Moore also placed all concerns on notice that the BWU will not be easing up in its fight for workers in 2019, even as it continues to lobby for the rights of domestics and offer training for retrenched public servants.
The Barbados Workers Union recognizes that now is not the time to take our foot off the gas, because the fight for workers' rights still has to be won. As we work towards strengthening our union, we recognize that counteracting the forces that undermine worker progress will require greater focus by us, especially as it relates to ensuring representation for those who have been relegated to the ranks of contingent labor, those who are superficially regarded as the self-employed, and the many who come face to face with the scandal of zero-hour contracts. Yes, here in Barbados.
The Barbados Association of Professional Engineers is suggesting, meanwhile, that all ethical issues be taken out of the hands of judges and the law courts in general. BAPE President, retired Lieutenant Colonel Trevor Brown, says that while judicial officers are experts in law, they often may not be sufficiently versed in the fundamental technical issues being raised in the various professional disciplines. Brown has called on the government to adopt a fundamental rethinking of national strategies that hold all those who lead or administer national institutions to international standards of professional qualifications, performance, and ethical behavior. In his New Year's message, he contended that the review, assessment, and the adjudication of ethical issues would therefore be done by experts in the various disciplines rather than by the law courts.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thanks for staying with us. Now to the regional news. A new non-governmental organization has been launched in Trinidad and Tobago to help women in prison and after they have been released. The organization, known as the Joint Force Anti-Crime Initiatives of Change, is founded by Zola Simmons, a former fire officer who spent 5 years behind bars for murder. We pick up the story in this TV6 News report.
While in prison, Simmons saw firsthand how the prison system traumatizes, brutalizes and silences women, how it rips newborn children out of their mother's arms, and how it exposes women to re-traumatization. Simmons felt the urgency to bring the voices of women in prison to the public in order to create awareness of women's incarceration and post-incarceration issues.
Today, I stand before you today. I stand in the gap for these women to let Trinidad and Tobago know that we are willing, ready, willing, and able to partner with the different bodies, the different sectors in society. We, this team of us here, we are ready, willing, and able to give back.
Since her release, Simmons has been advocating for female inmates' rights, prison reform, and empowerment for women through spiritual renewal, education, and entrepreneurship.
And on the global front, elections in Bangladesh have turned deadly. Police say more than 15 people have been killed, including 7 from the ruling party and 5 from the opposition alliance. About 20 were injured. More from Reuters TV.
As polls closed Sunday and the counting began, the country's election commission said it was investigating allegations of vote rigging across the country. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is the overwhelming favourite to win a third term. The country's opposition alliance said it was rejecting the results, alleging rigging and demanding a fresh vote under a neutral government. Reuters reporters across the country of 165 million people saw low turnout at polling booths. At one of them, some said they were afraid to comment on the polls, describing an atmosphere of fear.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Now you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.